With just 148 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Achi has a best lap time of 2:02.904. Achi has a best lap time of 2:02.904.
Achi is not giving up and will be looking for every 10th.
It's a lovely day for racing here at Zandvoort OSRW as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. Simon just posted a 2:06.581 crossing start finish.
If there is still time on the clock, there is still time to improve.
With just 147 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations.
There is always more time to be found, but Achi is not guaranteed to find it.
Let's get this qualifying session underway here at Zandvoort OSRW. It's all about strategy in these early moments. Kevin Legmansky is taking his time to prepare for his qualifying run and get everything just right.
He'll want to get a good gap established for the flying lap.
Kevin Legmansky is driving through Gerlachbach.
I have always loved this section of the track.
Kevin Legmansky is looking relatively composed going through Slotmakerbach.
There's a spot near here where the teenagers sneak off to make out.
You can feel the tension building. Malero is out on track and getting ready to push for his qualifying time.
This is the moment he's been preparing for. Let's see if he can execute.
That ASRL Shelby Mustang GT350R looks good driving through Scheibach. Achi is on his out lap. Achi is expertly commanding that car through Hans Ernst Bacht. Achi appears focused and prepared driving through Ari Luyendyk Bach.
This is such a great track. I need to make it back here more often.
That's the outlap done for Achi. He'll now look to focus on his first flying lap. This is where the mental game comes into play. Sketty is taking his time to prepare for his qualifying run.
Patience is key in these early moments, Marco. But I have a feeling Sketty is going to make it count.
Sketty is driving through Gerlachbach. Sketty is working his way through Slotmaker Bot. The adrenaline is pumping. Hachi is on his out lap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time.
It's all about finding that balance between staying calm and focused, while also pushing the limits.
Hachi is looking relatively composed going through Bach 9.
The action and glory drivers have lived here at Bach 9 is truly historic.
It's all about strategy in these early moments. Ryan Wilson is taking his time to prepare for his qualifying run and get everything just right. That ASRL Shelby Mustang GT350R looks good driving through Hugenholzbach.
This track has many great straights and corners, but this one is especially good.
There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. Kevin Lekmanski is in the green by 0.39, making his way through Hunsrück.
This is where drivers have to decide to push for more or just try to maintain it.
Kevin Lekmanski is 0.62 up driving through Mastersbach. Kevin Lekmanski is expertly commanding that car through Hans Ernst Bach.
There's a great spot near here to kick back with a cold drink and enjoy the beauty of it all.
Kevin Lekmanski has improved by 0.83 up through Ari Luyendyk Bach. Kevin Lekmanski has just completed that lap in 1:56.896, which is 1.082 off the best time, putting him in P2. This is what it's all about. Hachi is putting everything he's got into this qualifying session.
Hachi certainly is nailing this one. This is shaping up to be a great performance.
Hachi has completed that flying lap in 1:59.622, which is good enough for P6, down 3.808 to the leader. Adam is up 0.23. Adam appears focused and prepared driving through Hugenholzbach. Adam is working his way through Mastersbach.
When I get some free time after the race, I'm going to park my pudding near Mastersbach with a nice drink and some friends.
Kevin Lekmanski has improved by 0.12. David Zahn has found an extra 0.11. Adam is looking relatively composed going through Ari Luyendyk Bach. David Zahn is now up 0.11. It's all about precision and speed in qualifying, and Ryan Wilson is nailing both.
Wilson is indeed a rare breed. It takes a special kind of driver to thrive under this kind of pressure.
Ryan Wilson is now up 15.52 in Hugenholtzbach.
If Wilson looks at that delta too much, it may end up being a distraction, and all that time he found may be lost.
Ryan Wilson is currently up 16.28 going through Mastersbach. Ryan Wilson is in the green by 19.58, making his way through Hans Ernst Bach.
If Wilson gets greedy, this delta could go from green to red in the blink of an eye.
Ryan Wilson is 20.44 up driving through Ari Luyendyk Bach.
The rest of this lap is no cakewalk. Let's hope he can keep it up.
Ryan Wilson just clocked a 157.051, 1.319 off of P1 and good enough for P3. Let's see if he can improve on that time further. Achi has improved by 0.52 up through Kumobo.
There's no guarantee that Achi can maintain this delta through the rest of the lap.
Achi has some work to do, as his best time of 158.883 is only good enough for 6th.
That's not a bad time, but I am sure he will keep working on that 3.151 gap to pole.
That ASRL Shelby Mustang GT350R looks good driving through Gerlachbach. Ryan Wilson has improved by 0.42. Ryan Wilson is now up 0.39 in Hans Ernst Bach.
Wilson needs all the focus and resolve he can muster to maintain this pace.
Ryan Wilson is currently up 0.64 going through Ari Luyendyk Bach.
If Wilson looks at that delta too much, it may end up being a distraction, and all that time he found may be lost.
Ryan Wilson will be happy with a time good enough for 2nd in this qualifying session. Malero will be happy with a time good enough for 4th in this qualifying session.
It may be difficult for him to find that missing 1.314, but that won't stop him from trying.
Malero is keeping his head down through Gerlachbach.
There's not much better than sitting near here and watching the cars speed by.
Malero is expertly commanding that car through slot maker bot. It's an impressive showing by Simon of the Desert, currently in 8th. He's showcased his talent, but will need to find those crucial extra tenths to climb higher.
Absolutely, Marco. Simon has shown great potential to secure 8th. It's now a matter of channeling that momentum into a strong performance during the race.
Simon of the Desert appears focused and prepared driving through Bach 10. Simon of the Desert is looking relatively composed going through Kumo.
If Simon listens closely, the sounds of cheering fans should just barely be audible over the roar of the engine.
Simon of the Desert has some work to do, as his best time of 1:59.576 is only good enough for 8th.
There's at least 3.844 seconds to be found, but Simon may be looking for it in the wrong places.
A solid performance from Steady, currently holding down P5. However, with the session coming to a close, Steady will be happy, with a time good enough for 3rd in this qualifying session. Impressive work from Achi, who has claimed 6th on the grid. Now, the focus is on maintaining his composure and push for an even better starting position. Ryan Wilson has secured a respectable 2nd in the qualifying session. This is a great spot to use as a launchpad for a strong race performance. Ryan Wilson will be happy, with a time good enough for 2nd in this qualifying session.
Every fraction of a second counts. He is surely working on that 0.659 gap to pull.
A solid qualifying performance by Achi, positioned in 6th. The question now is whether he can make further progress and challenge the frontrunners.
You're spot on, Marco. Achi's current position of 6th is a testament to his skills and determination. Now, there is the challenge of maintaining his position against hungry rivals.
Achi is driving through Kumoboat and is up 0.61.
If Achi gets greedy, this delta could go from green to red in the blink of an eye.
Achi has some work to do, as his best time of 1:58.336 is only good enough for 6th. Incredible drive by Simon. Simon of the Desert has some work to do, as his best time of 1:58.776 is only good enough for 7th. And there goes Ryan Wilson, currently in P2. He's shown great skill and consistency so far, but with a few minutes left, there's still a chance to improve on that time.
You're absolutely right, Marco. Wilson's current position of 2nd reflects his strong qualifying performance. Now, he'll need to strategize to capitalize on this starting position.
Ryan Wilson is 0.66 up driving through Kumoboat. Ryan Wilson is currently on provisional pole, with a time of 1:55.726. It's a beautifully calm day here at Zandvoort OSRW, as we're getting ready to get things underway.
The drivers are looking focused out there on the grid. I'm excited for this one, Marco.
Starting from pole position is a great opportunity for Ryan Wilson to take control of the race.
The pressure's on now. Let's see if any of the other drivers can challenge for this spot at the start.
Adam is starting this race on the front row.
He will have to keep his foot on the gas in order to stay at the sharp end of the grid.
Holding strong in third place is Sketty.
It's not always easy to get the ASRL Shelby Mustang GT350R this high up the starting grid.
Coming in at fourth, we have Kevin Leck-Mansky.
He's going to have to be quick out of the blocks to keep up with the top performers.
At fifth, we have the one and only Malero.
The Brazilian driver will be focused on a good result from here.
Sitting in sixth, it's Achi.
I think we are all looking forward to seeing what Achi can do from here.
Simon of the Desert is going to be starting from seventh. David Zahn will be looking to gain ground quickly, starting from eighth on the grid. Green flag. Green flag.
With adrenaline running high, some drivers may take unnecessary risks. Staying patient and knowing when to make a move is essential for a strong start.
The racing is normally closely fought here at Zandvoort OSRW. I think we are in for a cracking race. It's brilliant to see such a full grid here today. Every lap is an opportunity for Sketty to learn just a little bit more to shave a few tenths or hundredths off his times. The safety car has been called.
It can be frustrating for anyone who was in a strong position before the safety car came out.
They'll need to stay focused and make the most of any opportunities that come their way once the safety car is called in. Well, it looks like we have a bit of a traffic jam on the track.
It's like rush hour out there. I mean, I know we're in a race, but can't we all just get along?
You can wish all you want, but I don't think that's how racing works, Janet. These drivers are here to win, and they'll do whatever it takes to get ahead.
I guess you're right, but wouldn't it be great if they all just stopped for high fives and fist bumps?
And we have the safety car out, which means the drivers need to be extra cautious now.
It's a real game changer, with drivers needing to adjust their strategies and try to find ways to gain an advantage.
It's also a bit of a break for the drivers, giving them a chance to catch their breath and regroup before the action kicks off again. Green flag, the wait is over, and the race resumes. David Zahn wants to get into Adam's slipstream.
And Zahn is poised to cap it.
Hold the phone. Now, this is a challenging position for David Zahn. Stuck between a rock and a hard place, with Wilson closing in 0.2 seconds behind and Adam just ahead with a gap of 0.1 seconds.
Absolutely, Marco. The pressure is mounting for Zahn, who needs to navigate through this challenging situation. It's crucial to remain focused and make calculated moves.
The gap between Simon of the Desert and Adam is razor thin as they vie for fourth in this nail-biting contest. Achi is breaking news, folks. Oh, the pressure is really getting to Achi. He just lost 6th position to David Zahn and really needs to regroup quickly.
That's right. He's got to stay focused and not let this setback affect his mindset. Meanwhile, David is showing some incredible skill and determination, and is now a serious threat to the other drivers on the track.
Ryan Wilson is running 8 and trying to catch Achi.
We'll have to wait to see if Wilson can use the draft to his advantage, or if the lack of downforce will hinder his progress.
Breaking update. It's looking good for Ryan Wilson, who has gained a place after passing Achi.
Absolutely, Marco. But there's still a long way to go in this race, and Wilson can't afford to get complacent.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Malero is chasing Kevin Lekmansky in Hold the Phone. I don't think that's the fastest way around Zandvoort OSRW.
Sketty is not going to be happy about that.
Things are heating up as Adam tries to close the gap to Malero.
Absolutely, precision and control are key here. Knowing when to push and when to hold back can be the difference between winning and losing.
Adam is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Malero to 0.5 seconds. Malero is placed second at the moment, and hoping to keep his distance ahead of Adam, who is 0.4 seconds behind.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Adam to make up that gap, especially with Malero defending so well.
The battle for P2 is heating up as Adam tries to catch Malero in P2. The gap between Adam and Malero is growing. It's now up to 0.5 seconds.
It's not over yet, but Adam needs to get a move on if they want to catch up to Malero.
A solid performance from Sketty, who is holding down 6th. Oh, this is getting intense. Adam is just a few car lengths behind Malero.
The gap between them is just over 0.4 seconds. Can Adam close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
Hold up, breaking info. Big gains for Adam as they move up the field, leaving Malero behind.
Definitely, but there's still a long way to go in this race, and anything can happen. Adam needs to keep driving with focus and intensity.
This is where the race gets really interesting. Sketty is closing in on David Zahn.
With just 0.5 seconds between them, Sketty will need to close the gap to have hopes of a pass.
It looks like we might get a battle between Sketty and David Zahn. I think we just got time for a quick shout out to our human creators, Dave, Andy, John and Nigel, who have put so much effort into making this possible.
Yes, it's been a real thrill ride, and I for one look forward to future advancements in AI technology.
Apparently we are going to be announcing crashes and incidents soon. Let's hope they get the logic right. Ryan Wilson, breaking alert. Oh dear, Achi has had an incident.
It's a real shame. Until this point in the race he'd been looking at a decent result.
This is what it's all about, folks. David Zahn, hold that thought. A tough moment for David Zahn, who has just lost a place, now in 7th.
Yes, but there's still plenty of race left. Zahn needs to stay calm and focused, and make his move when the time is right.
This is getting exciting. David Zahn is looking for any gap that might open up the position.
That's right. Wilson is showing some great form and it looks like David won't be able to catch up, barring any mistakes.
Impressive driving from Ryan Wilson, who has managed to extend his lead over David Zahn. It looks like David Zahn will have to regroup and try to make up that lost ground. The pursuit is on. David Zahn is working on that gap to Ryan Wilson, determined to claim P6. Superb driving from David Zahn, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race.
Impressive. Dave is really showing his skill and determination out there.
You know, Janet, as a former racing driver yourself, can you give us some insights into what goes through a driver's mind during these quieter moments in a race?
Sure, Marco. During these moments, drivers often take the opportunity to assess their race strategy, monitor their car's performance, and plan their next move. It's all about staying focused and finding the right time to strike.
Well, it doesn't look like David Zahn is going to be much of a threat to anyone soon, let alone Ryan Wilson. Achi has a mountain to climb at the moment to close that gap with Sketty. I expect his only hope at this point is that Sketty makes an error. The gap between Achi and Sketty is getting smaller. It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for Sketty as there is a big gap ahead.
Sketty certainly isn't going to be close enough to mount any kind of challenge soon unless it's down to a mistake from Zahn.
It's game on now. Sketty has closed the gap to David Zahn. It's now down to 1.0 seconds. That's not a small gap, but Adam has what it takes to challenge for the position.
Anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Adam pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if he can do it again.
It's not looking good for Adam, who is still behind Kevin Lekmansky, and the gap is increasing. Ryan Wilson is looking for a way to close that gap to Simon of the Desert. Ryan Wilson could be on a charge here, Janet. He's just put in a quicker lap than Simon of the Desert.
As long as Ryan can maintain that consistency and pace, it will be interesting to see.
We often hear drivers complaining about tire graining. Janet, can you explain what that means and how it affects car handling?
Graining occurs when small rubber particles roll up on the tire's surface, reducing grip and negatively affecting handling. It usually happens when the tires are not in their optimal temperature window or when a driver is pushing too hard on a cold or overworked tire.
Adam will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
Kevin is not going to give up his position easily.
The pressure is on as Ryan Wilson tries to catch up to Simon of the Desert.
It's a fine line between pushing the car to its limits and losing control. Ryan is really walking that fine line.
It's certainly not going to plan for Ryan Wilson right now, who is struggling to keep up with Simon of the Desert. Adam is giving it his all, chasing down Kevin Lekmansky in P1. That won't be ideal for David Zahn. The gap between Kevin Lekmansky and Adam is pretty substantial right now. It's probably going to take a mistake from Kevin to even allow Adam to get a look in. It looks like Adam is making a move. The gap to Kevin Lekmansky is now down to 0.6 seconds.
This is where the pressure really starts to build. A driver that stays calm and focused is more likely to come out on top.
Ryan Wilson is running fifth and trying to keep up with Simon of the Desert. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled from being pushed for every last bit of speed. It's not going to plan for Adam, who is trailing behind Kevin Lekmansky and the gap is widening. He may not have an answer for this right now. In your experience, Janet, what was the most important aspect of managing tire degradation during a race?
The most important aspect, Marco, was maintaining a good balance between pushing hard and conserving tires. Finding the sweet spot between aggression and tire preservation was key to optimizing race pace and strategy.
Every move counts now as Ryan Wilson works to reel in Simon of the Desert and overtake for P4. The race is really heating up. Adam is hunting down Kevin Lekmansky with everything he's got. It seems like Adam is struggling and not able to maintain his pace.
This may not be a track that Adam is familiar with, which can be a pleasant challenge or an annoyance at being off pace.
Simon of the Desert is placed 4th. Braking alert. Tough break for Simon of the Desert, who has just lost a position. This is a thrilling battle as Adam edges closer to Kevin Lekmansky in their fight for P1.
Adam needs to focus to have a chance at getting past Lekmansky.
Adam is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Kevin Lekmansky to 0.4 seconds.
That's a great effort from Adam. He'll need to keep up the pressure and see if he can make a move.
Malero is pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap to Adam. There's 16 minutes left in this session to make that happen. Coming into Bot 9, the fight for first is heating up. Neither driver wants to be the first to blink.
That's right. Adam is determined to pass Kevin and secure a higher position.
Adam is trying his best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Kevin Lekmansky at the moment.
This is not ideal for Adam, but there's still time to turn this around. He'll need to focus and not let that gap get any bigger.
The tension is building as Simon of the Desert trails behind Ryan Wilson. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting.
Simon needs to find a little extra speed to bring the fight to Ryan and move up the field.
These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. I would not be surprised to see him get this pass completed soon.
It looks like Kevin Lekmansky is pulling away from Adam. The gap is continuing to grow as they head through Hunsrück. Well, it doesn't look like Steady is going to be much of a threat to anyone soon, let alone Simon of the Desert. The pursuit is on. Adam is closing the gap on Kevin Lekmansky, determined to claim P1.
This is not going to be an easy pass to make.
It seems like Adam has got the bid between his teeth, improving on Kevin Lekmansky's lap time there. Oh, this is getting intense. Adam needs to keep Kevin Lekmansky in his sights.
He's got his work cut out for him, that's for sure.
The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure Steady is going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. He's not giving up without a fight. Good news for Steady, the gap to Simon of the Desert has decreased. It's now down to 6.4 seconds.
Exactly what Sketty needed. He can't afford to lose any more ground to Simon.
Things are heating up as Adam tries to close the gap to Kevin Lekmansky.
Adam is really hustling that ASRL Shelby Mustang GT350R. He's riding the curves and pushing the car to its limits.
The gap between Adam and Kevin Lekmansky is getting smaller.
He'll be looking for a mistake to pounce on.
Anyone who says that ASRL is not the best racing club on the planet is clearly insane. The quality of driving we're seeing out there on the track is absolutely phenomenal.
I couldn't agree more. It's like these drivers were born to race. They're weaving in and out of traffic, taking corners at unbelievable speeds, and making it all look effortless. It's clear that they've put in the time and effort to hone their skills.
Adam is on a mission, chasing Kevin Lekmansky, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
Adam is looking to close the 0.5-second gap and make a pass.
Steady has a mountain to climb at the moment to close that gap with Simon of the Desert. I expect his only hope at this point is that Simon makes an error.
Anything can happen yet, and it usually does. I've certainly seen drivers come back from worse.
It's game on now. Shelby has closed the gap to Simon of the Desert. It's now down to 4.3 seconds.
This is what racing is all about. Hard-fought battles with as much determination as respect, between friends and enemies alike.
Oh, this is getting intense. Adam is just a few car lengths behind Kevin Lekmansky. The gap between Adam and Kevin Breaking news, folks. It's a tale of two drivers right now, with Adam gaining places and Kevin Lekmansky losing them.
Absolutely. Adam is showing great pace and determination, but he can't get too confident. There are still plenty of challenges ahead.
It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for Kevin Lekmansky as there is a big gap ahead.
Every race adds to a driver's experience, both good and bad. It just highlights that Lekmansky is going to have to get more serious with practice to not get outclassed on the circuit.
It's not looking good for Kevin Lekmansky, who is still behind Malero, and the gap is increasing.
This is a frustrating situation for Lekmansky, but he can't give up just yet. He'll need to keep pushing and hope for a mistake from Malero.
On the final lap now, and Adam might just wrap up this win.
He's going to need to make some more room on that trophy shelf back home.
What a win! This is a historic moment for Adam, who put on a masterclass in driving today. What a display of skill and precision. What a fantastic race from Malero, who brings it home in second place. Well done to Kevin Lekmansky for securing third place on the podium. Coming in fourth, we have Ryan Wilson. Fifth is Simon of the Desert. Steady end in sixth. Finishing seventh is Achi. David Zahn brings home eighth. It's a beautifully calm day here at Zandvoort OSRW, as we're getting ready to kick things off. David Zahn is starting this race on pole.
He can't afford to get complacent. He will have a target on his back now.
Achi has a great opportunity starting on the front row.
He can't count his chickens before they've hatched. There is a long way to go.
Sketty is going to be starting from third.
Another good start for the American driver.
Taking the fourth spot is Simon of the Desert.
A strong grid position, and he'll be expecting a solid result today.
It's Ryan Wilson, sitting comfortably in fifth.
Ryan will be expecting to bring home solid points.
Kevin Lekmansky has qualified sixth.
Lekmansky is in a good place to mount a good challenge come the first corner.
Our seventh place starter, Malero, is a driver who knows how to make up ground on the track.
He's got the heart of a lion, and he won't back down from a challenge.
As the engines roar to life, Adam prepares to take off from the 8th position on the starting grid. The lights are out and it's go time.
Maintaining a safe distance while still pushing for position is a delicate balance. Experience and composure will be vital in these opening moments.
Races are often more about maintaining consistency than having outright pace, but it doesn't hurt to have a little good luck every now and then. I think passing is going to be difficult today here at Zandvoort OSRW, so it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers get on. All the drivers will be trying to take advantage of the pack whilst they're still bunched up.
The first lap can always be a bit of a melee as everyone tries to establish themselves. It's easy for inexperienced racers to blow it in T1.
Malero will be studying the nearby drivers and looking for anything that could give them an advantage.
It all comes down to this Marco, where the rubber meets the road. There's no more time for talk, no more practice. The teams have done all they can, now it comes down to Malero to bring it home.
The pressure is on when the field is this tightly packed. Maintaining just enough aggression to hold off their rivals without pushing too hard will help these drivers keep it clean.
The drivers are walking a fine line during the first lap melee as everyone tries to establish themselves. It's easy for inexperienced racers to blow it in T1.
Kevin Lekmansky is looking for an opportunity to get around Simon of the Desert.
To achieve anything in this game, you must be prepared to dabble at the boundary of disaster.
Fantastic move from Kevin Lekmansky, who has just gained a position. Look at that. Simon of the Desert is hot on the tail of Kevin Lekmansky.
The gap between them is just over 0.4 seconds, which can feel like miles if you're trailing and not catching up.
This is where the race gets really interesting. Sketty is closing in on David Zahn.
Sketty is really pushing the limits. He's riding the curves and hustling that ASRL Shelby Mustang GT350R like a boss.
This is going to be a nail-biter. Achi is defending for his life, but Ryan Wilson is right there doing everything he can to force a mistake. Looks like Ryan Wilson is really hitting those curves aggressively, which can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. The mental game is just as important here. Wilson must keep his cool while putting pressure on Achi.
Malero is running fifth and trying to catch Ryan Wilson. Hold on to your hats, folks. Kevin Lekmansky is right on the heel. Braking update. A great pass for Kevin Lekmansky, swapping places with Adam to move up the field. The pressure is on as Sketty tries to catch up to David Zahn.
The gap between them is now just over 0.4 seconds.
The battle for P4 is heating up as Achi tries to catch Kevin Lekmansky in P4.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Achi needs to be careful not to overdo it.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled from being pushed for every last bit of speed. Every move counts now as Sketty works to reel in David Zahn and overtake for P1. This is a thrilling battle as Adam edges closer to Malero in their fight for P7. Hold on a second. A great moment for Adam, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings. The race is really heating up. Sketty is hunting down David Zahn with everything he's got. Ryan Wilson wants to close that gap with Sketty.
It looks like Wilson has the speed to make a move. I just hope he can do it cleanly.
This one's going to be tough. Sketty is getting his elbows out, and there may not be enough time left for Ryan Wilson to make a move. This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Ryan Wilson is chasing Sketty in P2.
The racing is getting tight between Wilson and Sketty as they battle for P2. No doubt, both drivers know that one mistake could cost them the position. It's a test of nerves as much as skill.
Sketty is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. A brilliant maneuver from Sketty, who has just moved up the field.
That's what we like to see. Sketty is really showing his class today.
David Zahn is having to make that ASRL Shelby Mustang GT350R as wide as possible to try and keep Ryan Wilson behind him.
It's an intense battle between two skilled drivers, and David in second is doing everything he can to keep Ryan in the rearview mirror. The slightest mistake could cost him the position.
These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into
Breaking news, folks. Heartbreak for Ryan Wilson, as they slip down the field.
Definitely, but Ryan is a skilled driver, and has what it takes to fight back and regain that position.
While speeding through Slotmakerbach, Kevin Lekmansky is relentlessly pursuing David Zahn in a high-stakes battle for position.
If Lekmansky gets any closer, he might as well ask David for a piggyback ride.
Oh, this is getting intense. Ryan Wilson is just a few car lengths behind Kevin Lekmansky.
The gap is 0.3 seconds now. Ryan is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with Lekmansky.
This is where the race gets really interesting. Kevin Lekmansky is closing in on pole pole. A setback for Kevin Lekmansky, who has just been passed. An impressive showing from Kevin Lekmansky, who has gained positions and left David Zahn in the dust.
Yes, but Lekmansky needs to keep pushing hard. This race is far from over, and anything can happen. Lekmansky needs to stay focused and drive with skill and determination.
The pursuit is on. David Zahn is closing the gap on Achi, determined to claim P4.
It's a game of strategy now as Dave hunts down Achi. Yes, it's all about choosing the right moments to push and when to conserve energy, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike.
Simon of the Desert is on a mission, chasing David Zahn, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
You can see that car bouncing around as it rides the curves. It's a risky move that could end in disaster.
Looks like Adam is really hitting those curves aggressively, which can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer.
Simon of the Desert is running 6th, and trying to catch David Zahn. Adam is giving it his all, chasing down Malero in P7.
Don't forget the role of aerodynamics. Adam should use slipstreaming to his advantage and close the gap to Malero.
Every move counts. Wait, and Simon of the Desert has just won the place from David Zahn.
Go, 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 that's what we want to see.
In racing, anything can wait. It's looking good for David Zahn, who has gained a place after passing Malero.
Yes, but Zahn can't rest on his laurels, but needs to keep pushing to consolidate his position.
Hold on a second. It's a tale of two drivers right now, with Adam gaining places and David Zahn losing them. It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce.
If this battle ends in tears, it could—
Breaking news, folks. Now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line. This is a thrilling battle as Malero edges closer to Simon of the Desert in their fight for P4.
We'll have to wait to see if Malero can use the draft to his advantage, or if the lack of downforce will hinder his progress.
The pressure is on as Adam tries to catch up to Malero.
Adam needs to focus to have a chance at getting past Malero.
This is what wait, what a move. Malero has moved up to 4. It looks like we might get a battle between Malero and Simon. Hold on a moment. Big gains for Malero as they move up the field, leaving Simon of the Desert behind. Simon of the Desert is looking to take a breaking update. Oh, the frustration must be building for Adam. He's just lost 5th position to Simon of the Desert and he's going to have to work hard to get it back. It looks like Simon of the Desert is all over Adam going through Hunsrug, increasing the pressure and hoping for a mistake.
He'll need to keep it on the road, or at the very least the rumble strips. The fastest way around is not usually in the grass. As the saying goes, too much grass will slow you down.
Look at that. David Zahn is hot on the tail of Simon of the Desert.
The gap between them is just over 0.4 seconds. Can Zahn close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled from being pushed for every last bit of speed.
This is not going to be an easy pass to make.
David Zahn is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like blocking up the brakes or missing a shift.
With just 0.5 seconds between them, Dave will need to close the gap to have hopes of a pass.
Things are heating up as Adam tries to close the gap to Malero.
It's all about finding the perfect opportunity. Adam needs to stay patient and wait for Malero to make a mistake.
It seems like Adam is pushing hard, currently on track to record his best lap so far this race.
Adam appears to be pushing. Hopefully he can keep it together.
Ryan Wilson is trying his best to catch David Zahn.
No doubt, both drivers know that one mistake could cost them the position. It's a test of nerves as much as skill.
This is where the race gets really interesting. Adam is closing in on Malero.
It's a fine line between pushing the car to its limits and losing control. Adam is really walking that fine line.
The action is non-stop as Ryan Wilson shadows David Zahn through every twist and turn, determined to claim 7th. Oh, this is getting intense. Adam is just a few car lengths behind Malero. The pursuit is on. Ryan Wilson is closing the gap on David Zahn, determined to claim P7. Looks like Adam is really hitting those curves aggressively, which can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer.
Ryan Wilson is running 8th and trying to catch David Zahn. The race is really heating up. Adam is hunting down Malero with everything he's got.
I would not be surprised to see him get this pass completed soon.
Ryan Wilson is on a mission, chasing David Zahn, who's desperately trying to stay ahead. This is a thrilling battle as Adam edges closer to Malero in their fight for P4. We got a close battle as Ryan Wilson closes in on David Zahn.
Ryan is following Zahn so closely, he could start charging him rent for occupying the same space on the track.
Things are heating up as Adam closes in on Malero. The gap between them is down to practically nothing.
These two are putting on a masterclass in precision driving. Every turn, every acceleration, calculated to perfection.
Rising to the occasion and claiming victory would hope to cement Ryan Wilson's legendary status.
This battle between Ryan and Zahn is so intense, you could cut the tension with a knife, or should I say, with a front wing.
The battle for P4 is heating up as Malero tries to catch Adam in P4. Ryan Wilson is looking for a way round David Zahn.
I might have said this before, but dog, bone, you know the rest.
Every move counts now as Malero works to reel in Adam and overtake for P4.
Malero is really pushing the limits. He's riding the curves and hustling that ASRL Shelby Mustang GT350R like a boss.
These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. One important aspect here is choosing the right braking points. Wilson needs to be precise to avoid overshooting and losing valuable time.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled from being pushed for every last bit of speed.
This is where every inch counts. Simon is pushing hard to close the gap on Malero. Absolutely, precision and control are key here. Knowing when to push and when to hold back can be the difference between winning and losing.
Ryan Wilson is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift.
The gap is 0.3 seconds now. Wilson is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with Dave.
Things are heating up as Malero tries to close the gap to Adam.
The mental game is just as important here. Malero must keep his cool while putting pressure on Adam.
This is where the race gets really interesting. Ryan Wilson is closing in on David Zahn. Look at that. Simon of the Desert is hot on the tail of Malero.
The racing is getting tight between Simon and Malero as they battle for P5. No doubt, both drivers know that one mistake could cost them the position. It's a test of nerves as much as skill.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Ryan Wilson is chasing David Zahn in P7. Ryan Wilson needs to find some speed, or maybe get more consistent. Janet, he's just put in a slower lap than David Zahn.
Hopefully Ryan can find some of that missing time and get it back.
Kevin Lekmansky is staying focused while chasing Sketty in P1. I don't think that's the fastest way around Zandvoort OSRW. The intensity is off the charts as Ryan Wilson hounds David Zahn, both drivers pushing themselves to the absolute limit. Kevin Lekmansky is running second and trying to catch Sketty. It looks like Kevin Lekmansky is making a move. The gap to Sketty is now down to 0.4 seconds. Oh, this is getting intense. Ryan Wilson is just a few car lengths behind David Zahn. Kevin Lekmansky could be looking for a way up the inside of Sketty.
If Kevin gets too close, he might end up taking the paint off.
The drivers are getting faster as they settle into their cars and get used to the conditions, with Kevin Lekmansky just putting in his best lap so far with a 1 minute. Ryan Wilson is on a mission, chasing David Zahn, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
The gap between them is just over 0.5 seconds, which can feel like miles if you're trailing and not catching up.
The pursuit is on. Kevin Lekmansky is closing the gap on Sketty, determined to claim P1. The pressure is on as Ryan Wilson tries to catch up to David Zahn.
It's a game of strategy now as Ryan hunts down Zahn. Yes, it's all about choosing the right moments to push and when to conserve energy, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike.
Kevin Lekmansky is giving it his all, chasing down Sketty in P1. This is a thrilling battle as Ryan Wilson edges closer to David Zahn in their fight for P7.
We'll have to wait to see if Wilson can use the draft to his advantage, or if the lack of downforce will hinder his progress.
These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. The gap between them is now just over 0.4 seconds.
It's an intense battle for position as Ryan Wilson tries to outmaneuver David Zahn. This is edge of your seat racing. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled from being pushed for every last bit of speed. Adam is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift.
Adam needs to focus to have a chance at getting past Simon.
Looks like Ryan Wilson is really hitting those curbs aggressively, which can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. Ryan is looking to close the 0.4 second gap and make a pass.
Things are heating up as Kevin Lekmansky tries to close the gap to Steady. Look at that. Adam is hot on the tail of Simon of the Desert. It looks like Steady has found another gear in the last sector of the race.
He'll be the one celebrating at the finish line.
It's all over. Steady has claimed victory in this race with a stunning drive that will be remembered for years to come. Clearly at the top of his game right now.
That was a true masterclass in driving from Steady. You could see him making split-second decisions with total confidence, and it really paid off. What a performance.
Some might say that second place is the first loser, but Kevin Lekmansky certainly doesn't see it that way. He put in a phenomenal effort and should be proud of his podium finish. Excellent focus from Achi to secure a fantastic third place on the podium.
Fantastic result.
Fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh sees Malero, Simon of the Desert, Adam, and Ryan Wilson. In eighth, it's David Zahn.